Hello everyone, Kevin Iverson here, hope you're doing well. I was talking with a guy on here that watches the channel, a guy called Craig Watson, and it was on a previous video, and he mentioned the Boss BP-1 booster preamp was a craft version, or I think it's the only version, right? And he was telling me about it, and I was like, yeah, I've got that. And so I thought, as he sort of reminded me, I thought I'd do a review of it today. When I first bought it, it was a bit of an impulse buy. As soon as I saw they had like a booster preamp and just a minimalistic setup of it, it was right up my street. When I first started using it, I always have an always on overdrive. So I usually use, well, that's my favourite boost, or pedal I use for a boost, the G7 equalizer by Boss. Love this pedal. Tom Bukovac is a big fan of this pedal. I actually got into it first of all via Adam Zindani, who's the guitar player from Stereophonics. He was in an interview and he said he uses this as a boost. Now, so I usually put it before my overdrive to sort of give me a bit more drive and to lift the volume a little bit. Another booster I like as well for boosting into the pedal, also after the pedal as well as a preamp, is the EP booster. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get rid of these two. They're really great. Only con with this is there's two dip switches on the inside, which is really annoying. I wish they put them on the outside. I don't know if they make this now with the dip switches on the outside, but anyway, it is what it is. So with this, I think this works better after an overdrive, and I think most people who have got these pedals, I think that's how most people use them. They use them as like a preamp. It definitely changes, putting them after changes the sound of the overdrive. You might be, if you're someone that uses an overdrive, or even if you've got an amp that breaks up but just not enough, it's good for just pushing it a bit more to give you a bit more drive. So got my Les Paul again today. Les Paul goes into the volume pedal, into the Nobles ODR Mini 2. I'm not affiliated with any of this gear, but it's my favourite overdrive. Then into the booster preamp, then into the Marshall. I've just set this up right, so the level's just above 9 o'clock, the gain's on 12 o'clock. You've got three settings. You've got, written it down here, right? So the first setting is the RE20 Space Echo preamp. In the middle position, you've got a natural, which is like a standard clean boost. And then thirdly, you've got the CE1 chorus preamp. On the back of the pedal, you've got a buffer setting, which goes from standard to vintage. I kind of wish it was just written as 1 and 2, because it says vintage, I've got to have it on vintage, right? So, but to be honest with you, I actually don't know a difference between either of those. I don't know if if you can tell a difference, then good for you. I can't hear it. So yeah, the clean sound from using the Blues Breaker here is turned down, but it's still quite loud. So I'm using the pedals to actually turn the amp down a bit. So this is on the natural setting. I'm going to put the drive on because that's how I'd normally use it with the drive. So this is my drive. On the natural setting, where I've got it set up at the moment, it sort of does nothing. Now, if I leave the settings as they are, then go to the RE, which is the Space Echo preamp. Turn it off. My favourite setting on this is the RE20 or the RE201 Space Echo preamp. So you can hear it kind of, I don't know how that's coming across with you, but kind of warms it up a bit. Going to the CE, was it the CE1 chorus preamp? gain turned up on it at the moment. Go back to natural. So you can see between the natural and that it doesn't do a lot, but let me just play you it with the amp with nothing, right? Turn it on. So let's turn that down a bit for me. See, this doesn't really work for me as a gain pedal, like if you wanted to use it as a gain pedal. I think if your amp was already breaking up, it would sound better like that. If I turn the gain up right to like 3 o'clock, yeah, I don't like that. It just, I think your amp needs to be already breaking up for it to sound good by itself going into an amp. But as I say, when I use it with the overdrive, that's how I like to use it. So what I'll do now is I'll turn the level up a bit. Turn up the level will turn up the whole volume anyway. Back to where it was. Now I'll turn the gain up now, right, to 3 o'clock. I think by turning up the gain you are sort of turning the volume up on it as well, so I'll turn the level down a bit. Turn the guitar volume down a bit. Yeah, for me, I don't like turning this gain knob up too much because it sounds a bit, the gain, it sounds a bit spiky to me. Go on the CE mode and do it. Where am I? Turn up the gain now to 3 o'clock again. You can kind of hear the gain that this is producing. So I don't like that. So for me, the gain, I think 12 o'clock, which Craig Watson, he was in the comments, I think it was of the RE20 video I done, he said he usually has the gain at around 12 o'clock and that works for him, and it definitely sounds good at that level. Back on the turn the guitar. Yeah, nice. So I've turned up on the neck pickup, I've turned the bass, the neck pickup volume down a little bit. Sound of that by itself. If I turn the gain off for a minute, right? What's that? That was on the CE mode. So now I'm just using the level. Does, even with the gain off, it definitely does something. It almost like cleans it up a bit. It's giving me a bit more volume. See, to me this pedal I think works really well if you also, like you're a recording engineer or work in the studio, you know, if a guitar sounds, you're not getting what you want out of a guitar sound, I feel like you could probably stick this, you know, before going into an amp and just playing with that, and it can change, it changes the sound of your overdrive, you know. Put it back to, go back there. So if I go onto the CE chorus preamp, off, on. Go back to the RE, back to the CE. So that CE is obviously, to me, to my ears, it sounds brighter. And again, it's quite cool in a way, because I often find when you put like a boost after your overdrive, this is quite good at it as well, it does clean up your sound a bit, which is quite handy sometimes, I think. I mean, a lot of the guitar sounds that I like are sort of like a bit dirty but quite clean as well at the same time. I've got a video that I've done ages ago of me playing in Oasis. It was Acquiesce, and a few people on my few different platforms said, oh, it sounds quite AC/DC, like guitar sound wise, and some people were saying it negatively, some people were saying it positive. I'm a massive fan of both bands, to be fair, so for me, when I think about it, both bands have that, you know, sort of humbuckers going into Marshalls, and I like that sound, and that's kind of what I'm getting here. So if I do, like, some might say, like, with the booster preamp on the CE. Sounds good. I like that. What else we got? I mean, even if I tried some AC/DC, right? Sounds good to me. See, that's on the CE setting with the gain off. I quite like that. Put it back to where I had it. Roughly there. I hope this is coming across sound-wise all right out there in YouTube land. I'll tell you what I'll quickly do, right? Put it back on again. I'm going to flick between the buffer. So it's on vintage at the moment. So this is standard I'm putting it on now. Here's vintage, which is what I had it on. Let me know if you can hear a difference. I can't. I mean, when it comes to like playing in a band on stage, that's something that I don't know anyone's going to hear that, you know, when you've got drums and bass or whatever going through. Maybe if you're working in a studio, as I say, it might come in handy, but I'll just leave it on the vintage setting. I'll just go back to the natural for a minute, right? So with the natural, let's try it off for a minute, right? So I quite like the natural when it's going just through the amp as a clean sort of thing. If I turn the gains now on around sort of like 1 o'clock, levels just below 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's hard because I'm trying to keep that volume down a bit if I can. Tune up my guitar quickly. Okay, work if you, I mean, even if you wanted a clean sound and you've got like an amp like mine that on like 2, it's relatively loud, but you wanted a really clean sound, but something you can control at your gigs, this might be really cool to get, because it kind of almost doesn't work as an attenuator, but it all kind of does, you know, it's too loud, turn it down with that. Turn up the gain a little bit to 2 o'clock. See, on the natural setting, you know, working with clean sounds, I think that sounds really nice on the natural setting. I think that's going to be it for me, really. Obviously, you guys know I'm not a shredder or anything. I'm just sort of, you know, a sort of standard guitar player or whatever. But yeah, I hope if you don't know that pedal, it's kind of giving you a bit of an insight as to how I think it works best. Some of you out, I mean, if you're someone that uses it as a boost before an overdrive, put it in the comments and let us know how you set it up and all that. If you've got this pedal, let us know. I say, I'm not going to lie, it was an impulse buy for me. As soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, that's something that I haven't got a pedal like that. But, you know, even demoing it now, it's got its uses 100%, you know. And as I say, I think, for me, my general go-to gear, if I'm going out gigging, I'll plug this into that. Or sometimes, occasionally, I'll swap this into that. But generally, it's this as my boost. But I think even if you're not someone who's going to use it live, if you record a lot, it's like maybe it's like a little bit of a secret weapon for some people. I don't know. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you could tell a difference between any of the sounds, or did you prefer the RE setting or the CE setting or the natural setting? Yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like. Please subscribe to the channel as well, because there's a lot of you that are returning viewers that haven't subscribed yet. So if you could do that, that'd be much appreciated. If you want to support the channel, the best way is I've got bucket hats and t-shirts. I'll have a link in my description and also in my bio. Also, if you've already got a bucket hat or a t-shirt, you can always buy us a coffee, which again, I've got links in the bio and in the description, I think. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you all soon. Thank you.